everybody, it's the Dr. Jason West Patient Experience. I'm so excited for you to meet Steve and Mary. In just a second, you're going to see their stories. I started working with them 5 years ago. Mary came from 10 hours away for us to work on shingles and fibromyalgia. And while she was at the office, her husband told me, look, I've had a stroke. I've got Lyme disease. I'm so weak, I can't even move. And you could hear their story of getting their life and their mojo back. So if you're out of hope and out of time and out of options, you'll want to hear Steve and Mary's story. It's absolutely amazing. And as always, we have some free information at the end of the patient story. It's every Thursday night. People just like you that are out of hope and out of time and out of options. They refuse to give up. They're not their diagnosis. So go with me inside the office to meet Steve and Mary. I can't wait for you to be inspired. Here, check it out. So I have asked Mary and Steve, I'm like, would you tell your story? Because it's so good for other people to hear kind of the traveling or the pathway through healthcare. And they graciously said yes. So, and it's not exactly like our next door either. Like you come from
Tri-Cities.
Okay, so for everybody else, that's up in the big state of Washington. And Mary, initially that brought you into the office, I think we were talking right before we hit the record button. It's about 5 years ago.
Yes.
So in 2016, and what initially brought you into the office?
I had shingles.
Yeah, so shingles is one of those things that I'd like to skip. Like, it's not fun. And,
No.
and is it only once that you had it? Did you have it multiple times? Like,
Just that one time, and we weren't sure what it was, and we went to a clinic, and they said it was shingles. I said, okay, what can you do? And they said, nothing, go home, and it'll go away.
So many times that's the response, just give it time. We always want to be careful that we don't have the lingering nerve irritation that occurs with shingles, as they call post-herpetic neuralgia. And some of the medical approaches is to give it, acyclovir and some type of nerve medication like Neurontin or gabapentin or something like that. That's not what we do at the office. But you were in Tri-Cities, you got shingles. How did you decide to come to the booming megatropolis of Pocatello?
We were actually on a mission in Salt Lake City.
Okay, so that's still 3 hours away.
That's right, and a friend said, we know where you can go to get help.
Okay.
And they sent us to you, and we just came up here a couple of times a week, and after the first time, I felt better. Never had any nerve pain or anything.
Okay. So we started off with shingles, and then I think we started Mary first, and then Steve, we started doing some work on you.
Yes.
So what was going on?
Well, I knew that I had Lyme's disease, and I didn't know that you did any work up here to treat Lyme's disease till I came up here and found it out when you were working with Mary, and found out that people come here from all over and you take care of them.
And Steve, what was your initial exposure, and how long were you diagnosed before we started working together?
I think it had been about 2 years. I'd been really weak. It started out that I had a low grade fever just all the time, and I just started losing energy.
Uh-huh.
And it was reoccurring when we were on the mission, and I was getting pretty weak and was hardly able to fulfill my duties down there really, and started receiving treatments up here. And right away I started feeling better.
Yeah, what treatments did we do?
We did infusions.
Yeah, and so everyone, you can see like Mary's finishing up a treatment that like it's the same thing for shingles and Lyme disease. And they're not exactly the same, but the goal is like, let's get the immune system to turn on. Let's do the vitamin C infusions.
Yeah.
So the strength started coming back, and I can't wait. You just have to tell people, like, how do you feel now?
Oh, I feel great.
So I had to jump to the end because it was so fun as we were doing our workup earlier. He's like, man, I feel really good. And Mary said, yeah, don't give him any more energy. Like is there a way that you can siphon some of that out and put it over me? But Steve, there was some other things that were happening too, because it just isn't Lyme disease, because there was some cardiovascular stuff going on too.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I actually was having palpitations, which is where my heart was skipping a beat. Previous to that, I had struggled with having a stroke. I was lucky to get a TPA, and that took care of that.
So it busted it up.
Yeah, busted up, and I came back, and I've been taking well, I guess I'll switch now to this OTC. He came up with a special mix of his magic ingredients, I'll say, that I'm taking.
So you
and
guys,
that's really helping me.
that's what we did for Steve. Is we did a custom protocol where we can take the vitamins and we can put it all into one bottle. Sometimes I get excited and people think they have to take one pill. That's not exactly what it is. But Steve, we did a custom for him. It's been pretty fun.
Oh yeah, it's been great. I really feel good. I have a
Good.
lot more energy. I can go do anything I want to go do. You know, we like to fish, and so we like to get out and do that. I like to do yard work. I do gardening. I was hoping to go snow skiing with my grandson this last winter. I was feeling good enough to, but it just didn't work out. But I'm really feeling super good. When I came here this time, I thought, Mary's certainly going to need an infusion. You know, she's been a little weak and struggling, having some problems. And I just was feeling good enough. I didn't think I need anything. In fact, I thought, have you start treating the upper level things that I can do
Right.
now that I'm feeling active, maybe too active. I had my shoulder hurt a little bit here, and we had a treatment on that today that's going to make that feel better.
Mary, after we got the shingles taken care of, we did some additional work because it wasn't just shingles. The reason why you got shingles is because we all have that, virus inside of our system, and when our immune system gets low, that virus can come out, affect the nerves. We get the blister reaction. Usually, it's following a nerve root. But we did some work after that. What were we working on?
You know, I can't remember.
So I will
I
help.
really can't. I mean, I knew it didn't feel well. I was
Right.
always getting sick, and
So we kept working on the immune system, and
Right.
and then we had some skin work that we wanted to work on. That
Yes.
we ended up being a reaction to one of the medications that they were trying to use to help knock down the inflammation. And now, from the time we started 5 years ago, like you're kind of a different person.
oh yes, I feel so good. I always had fibromyalgia. They told me that's what it was, but I ached all the time, and I don't have any of that anymore. My brain's clearer.
So brain's good. We also did a custom program for you.
Yes.
And tried to streamline that, and we didn't quite get everything into one supplement. We took some. One of the things I think was really helping is the protein program to help your body to utilize protein better, because
Yes.
so many times people get the wrong kind of protein in their system. And what I mean the wrong kind is there's 22 amino acids that code for protein or make protein, and it's pretty easy to get the 14. If you don't have the 8 essential, you can't use the other 14. So we have essential amino acids, total amino acids, and so we've given Mary this program of just helping to get the protein levels up. And so many times that helps with the muscles, and the brain was better. Like it's just fun. When I see these guys, I always get excited on the schedule. It's after hours right now. I asked them to stay over later to do this because it's just so fun to take people and say, look, you weren't feeling good before. Let's just try and get your body balanced and put stuff into your system, and let's get your mojo back.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other thing that's kind of fun is these guys were my early adopters for our membership program. It's called the Thrivers program, and we do a lot of, virtual office visits on Wednesday. It's not that they're there every single week, but you guys, what are some of the takeaways from our virtual office visit program?
Oh, I've learned so much about vitamins and minerals and how deficient I've always been. And I try to play doctor to friends who.
It's great. Like I'm like, hey Mary, let me tell you how to treat everybody. And so in that side of that program, it's every Wednesday night with my membership program, we have the ability to do a virtual office visit. And so we answer questions, we go over topics, we go over the protocols. They asked about some treatments for family members that we're able to provide. And Wednesdays, you guys are kind of special to me. I really enjoy doing that program, and I think Steve was the first guy inside of our membership program, and so they're even extra special because they're like, hey, we want to help get this out, and now it's kind of got a life of its own. And so that was kind of fun to visit as well. So Steve, people watch this all over the place, across the street and across the country, and going through Lyme disease and cardiovascular concerns and weakness. Is there some advice that you could give someone that was watching this in Florida or Maine or Australia that would help them on their health journey?
Well, I would just say remind them that you're not your diagnosis, and don't give up hope. You know, I was really concerned about where I was going to end up when this Lyme disease was rampant with me. You know, when I came here and you drew blood and put it on the big screen, you know, like you do, and you can analyze the blood cells, and well, it wasn't you that time, it was Dr. Nelson, but anyway, he was pointing out on the screen all of these Lyme bacteria. And it was amazing. He said, oh, look, here, they're there. You know, it's just like they're all over the place. And he said, he finally just stopped and he turned to me and he said, well, I have seen worse. He said, I think we can help you. And that was, you know, that gave me hope. Because up to that point, maybe it was you.
It was.
Maybe it was my mind just slipping down here.
You guys forget he said that. You were doing really good. So yeah, that sounds like one of my statements. It's not the worst thing.
And it really helped me, gave me hope, because up to that point, you know, I was going to doctors and they just had nothing for me. And so if there's someone out there who's struggling, they really don't know what to do, and they've been to doctors, I would tell them to give you a chance. You know, we talk about him to people we know who have problems, our friends who have, you know, bad arthritis, and there's things that he can do that just the regular medical community cannot do. And that's, I can't stress that strongly enough.
And he is here to prevent stuff, not to just try to apply.
Well, that was going to be my next question. It's not just me that does this. There's other doctors that do vitamin infusions and do a comprehensive approach and a functional. And yes, of course, I want people to come to the office and experience the hope. But Mary, you've been through a lot of different doctors.
Yes.
And so I love it when patients Back of my share advice. And, like, I've had people that are saying, you know, I was so sick and this is what I learned. This is what I learned about myself. And I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. And yet it was really hard to go through. So if someone's watching this in a place that's hard to get help or hard to travel, just like Steve said, what would your suggestions or recommendations be for someone that's facing a chronic health thing? What are some of the lessons or takeaways that you could share with them?
Don't give up. There's always hope. There's always somebody. You just have to keep searching until you find that person. Do your own research, and during that too, maybe you'll come across somebody, you know, who knows something.
I'm super happy that
there are
like, I
people
can
out
get
there
other
who know
market-
everything. I mean, there's everybody who knows something that'll lead you. Don't give up hope.
I love that Will Rogers comment that says that we're all experts in just different areas, right? Like someone may not know anything about this part, but knows a ton about this. And that's one of the things that, you know, my son is in a graduate program transitioning to medical school. He's like, Dad, how do you know all these things? I'm like, well, I talk to people all day long to educate me about their pathway and about you know, what's in their diet and about their medical diagnosis and what tests they've done and what drugs they've done and what treatments they've done. And so after 21 years, like, you just start accumulating a lot of information. And then I love the lessons that patients can share with people that are looking for something, that are out of hope and out of time or out of options, or they think that they've tried everything. And you haven't tried everything. That's my one takeaway in health. No one has a monopoly on healthcare. So just keep looking for that.
One other comment. It's your health. When you run into these situations where people don't have answers, this is a lesson I learned a long time ago to be successful. Be proactive. It's your health. Don't just accept that diagnosis. Do your own research. Talk to other doctors.
One of my favorite things, and this is the segments that we do on Wednesday, is we just started this as the segment I'm doing is what would I do? So what would I do if I have COVID? What would I do if I have, you know, squamous cell carcinoma? What would I do if I have arthritis? We're just starting that segments. That's on Wednesdays at 6. And the reason why I decided to do that is for comments, just like Steve said. So many times when people are walking through the healthcare system and they come up to a doctor and the doctor gives them the treatment recommendations, I always advise the patient, ask the doctor if that's what he would do. Because a lot of times you'll get a different response. Not all the time, a lot of times anyway, but it's just a fascinating exercise to do for your doctor. So, Steve, any last takeaways or suggestions?
I guess when you think about medical procedures and the whole healthcare system, be open-minded and learn and study. Learn as much as you can. That's one of the things I really like about these programs that you have on Wednesdays and Thursdays, is that we have an opportunity to learn a lot about how our system works, what causes some problems, what things you can avoid, what you can do to help yourself. And that's very important, learning what you can do to help yourself and team with the doctor.
Mary, any last second takeaways? I mean, that covered a lot.
It covered it all.
Does it do that to you a lot? Like, take away, like, your thunder? You're like, I got this awesome idea, and then he's...
Yes, we never start with him. We always start
I got to go backwards next time. Mom, I'm sorry. I know it's always ladies first. I apologize. But it's just special to work with these guys. I consider them literally family, and so I get excited to see them every time they come office. It's what, 10 hours from where you're at to here?
Yeah.
10 hours. And so it's not like I see them super consistently. We're able to communicate a lot through our live casts and our programs. And so Dr. West and Mary and Steve at the office, don't give up hope. Be open-minded. Keep searching. There's someone out there that has the answers. Mm-hmm. We'll see you guys on the next program. Oh, wait, I forgot to ask you. It's okay to post this to share with people?
Yes,
sure.
Because I want people to get permission and then recognize, like, it's not just you. Like, there's people just like you that are beating their disease and they're not their diagnosis. We'll see you guys on the next video. Everybody, thanks for watching the segment with me and Steve and with Mary. This happens all the time inside of the office, where we take people that are literally just trying to balance out their physiology and get control back in their lives. We do this every Thursday night, usually at 5:30 Mountain Time. It's the patient experience and patient story. If you'd like more information of what we've done for them, you can go to thewestcliniconline.com. That is our website. We have a podcast. We have a newsletter. We have a special teaching program every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. That's the Dr. Jason West and the patient experience. We'll see you guys next week with another patient story inside of the office. Until then, here's to your energy, balance, and longevity.